Hi, and welcome to the show. It's 019 of the podcast show Podium. And this is going to be a session with Dr. George Pransky. And this is part 2 of a conversation that I had with a group of coaches with George. And this week we're talking about this question of resistance, that when you go into an organisation or you start talking to somebody about how it is looking in this direction of the principles behind the human experience as uncovered by the late Sydney Banks, description, the mechanism of how it is we come to have our individual realities, our perspectives in life, how that might help people. And I've really come to see that whenever we have any experience resistance, of course, we're not experiencing the person in front of us. We're actually experiencing resistant thinking. And it's fascinating that when we see that, we can connect at a much deeper level. And George points to this and speaks to this beautifully in this next conversation. And I hope for all of you sport coaches out there that are looking in this direction, this is going to be very helpful indeed. Enjoy. How do you have a conversation with regards to resisting clients? So, and I have my own, I guess I have my own thoughts about this, having tried for 4 years to be introducing this to sports people at all levels of the game. In your career here, George, you would have had many conversations, I'm sure, where people heard nothing at all. And then conversations like that first chap who saw it straight away and saw the leverage and the benefits to his organization. So in the field of sport, for us practitioners, trying to bring this into an area which we're passionate about and, we're totally inspired about, and we can see the benefits to people's lives. Have you got anything that you could offer in terms of when people resist?
The answer to that is very simple to me. The answer to resistance is conversation and dialogue. So, for example, I don't have a sports example that comes to mind, but with this company, Wes's company that I work with, I had one guy in there who was a CFO, and he was really had a problem with how expensive the program was and how we were taking people's time away. And he was in one of the classes and he didn't see any merit in it. He thought it was a waste of time and so forth. So he was very, very resistant to the point where he was openly advocating against it to his bosses. So I went in and sat in his office, and he told me all the problems he had with it, that it wasn't generalizable, that it was hard to understand. And so I said, well, let me ask you something, Doug. Let's take it a piece at a time. Do you think that people's thinking has anything to do with their lives and performance at work? Okay, now, I don't care what he says. If he says no, then that would just be a discussion. See? Turns out he said yes. He says, I do, but I really don't see that people can control their thinking. I said, oh, okay. Well, I agree with you on that, Doug. I agree. And if people heard that you can control your thinking, then I didn't do a good job of teaching. So then he said, well, what are you saying now? So through the dialogue, I could clear up the misunderstandings that we had and the things that he didn't understand himself about what I was saying. And I was also had an opportunity to get him to engage the major points that are involved in teaching the principles. That really is where the rubber meets the road. In other words, whatever the resistance is, it will come out in the course of the conversation, and you'll be able to speak to it.
Right.
But it's mostly listening and understanding where the person's coming from.
Yeah.
Now, there's never going to be a time when I have a conversation with someone and they don't come around, because the principles, once you look at them, are obvious. It's obvious that we think. It's obvious that our thinking at least relates to our experience. So I think that a certain kind of movie is not a good movie, and I'm sitting in that movie, it's obviously going to be influence my ability to enjoy the movie. If I think that someone's a bad person, it's obviously going to be difficult for me to appreciate that person. So there's no question that our thinking influences our experience. And there's also no question that a lot of the ideas we get and a lot of the guidance we get in life comes to us other than through our own efforts. We do seem to have some guidance in life and some thinking that comes to us out of the blue.
Well, how powerful is that conversation with George Pransky? And I'm delighted to have several parts, so please do tune in for next week's podcast show. If you'd like to get hold of George Pransky, you can do that by looking at his website, www.pranskyanassociates.com. If you'd like to get in touch with myself, I'm on denise.holland@class-performance.com. I've just written a new article post the Mental Health Awareness Week, which is on my website, and that is www.class-performance.com. So until we speak again next Friday at the usual time across the world, sometimes it's the morning, lunchtime, afternoon, whatever your time zone, I look forward to sharing with you again soon. Thank you.